Bandits, Robbers, and Arsonists. Introduction. The general public has long romanticized bandits, admiring their courage, audacity, and unwillingness to live by the rules of others. Many have been regarded as daredevils rather than simply common criminals. Such was the public's perception of Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow, outlaws operating in 1930s America, who traveled in a Buick sedan and hid out in boarding houses and empty barns between robberies and murders. Bonnie and Clyde's crimes were heinous, but they captured the public imagination and attracted throngs of supporters who relished reports of their latest exploits. It was no different for the Great Train Robbers, a 15-member gang who targeted the Glasgow to London mail train in 1963. Wearing helmets, ski masks, and gloves, they stole 120 mail bags containing more than €2.6 million, about $68 million today, or more than that, in cash, and seriously injured train engineer Jack Mills. Yet sections of the British public glorified the Great Train Robbers, pleased that some of them evaded justice and ignored their violent and illegal exploits. Like other famous robberies and criminal partnerships, the stories of the Great Train Robbery and Bonnie and Clyde have been made into movies that appeal to the public's age-old love of villains. The notion of the lovable rogue is not entirely fanciful. John Nevison, a British highwayman of the 1670s, was renowned for his gentlemanly manner. Holding up stagecoaches on horseback, he apologized to his victims before taking their money. Bizarrely, it almost became an honor to be robbed by Nevison. His legendary status was cemented through his impulsive 200-mile journey from the county of Kent to York to establish an alibi for a robbery that he committed earlier in the day, a feat that earned him the nickname Swift Nick. Ingenious crimes. Sometimes we cannot help but admire the breathtaking audacity of certain crimes and their perpetrators. One of the boldest robberies in modern times occurred in mid-air over the northwestern United States in November 1971. The hijacker of a Boeing 727, who became known as D.B. Cooper, fled by parachute, taking with him a ransom of $200,000 in $20 bills. In the French town of Nice, a few years later, thieves committed what was then the biggest heist in history when they drilled their way into the Société Générale Bank from the city's sewer system. In 2003, a gang of thieves showed similar ambition when they broke into a seemingly impregnable underground vault 2 floors beneath the Antwerp Diamond Center to commit what was dubbed the perfect crime. The gang made off a haul worth around $100 million. The ringleader made one fatal mistake, leaving traces of his DNA close to the crime scene. Art heists also tend to capture the public's imagination because they often demonstrate brazen opportunism with little thought for the consequences. Take, for example, the 2003 case of amateur art thief Robert Mang, who climbed up the scaffolding outside a museum and squeezed through a broken window to steal a multi-million-dollar work by the Italian artist Benvenuto Cellini. There was, however, no market for the miniature masterpiece, and he was forced to bury it in the woods. Darker acts. Not all bandits and robbers inspire a grudging respect for the remarkable nerve of the offender. The case of body snatchers William Burke and William Hare, who in early 19th century Edinburgh turned to murder to supply cadavers for Robert Knox's anatomy classes at the city's university, is a grisly tale. The spate of arson attacks committed by fire investigator John Leonard Orr in California were especially dark and disturbing. This case was fiendishly difficult to crack because much of the evidence was destroyed by the fire. A partial fingerprint left on an unburned part of his incendiary device led to his arrest. Unlike Bonnie and Clyde and the Great Train Robbers, who became legendary figures in courtesy of the media, Orr created his own legend and earned a reputation for being the first investigator at the scene of the crimes that he secretly committed. But Orr's fearlessness and skill as a master manipulator are what he shares with the bandits and robbers featured in this chapter. They have all entered criminal history on account of their notoriety, in which some cases extends to mythic status.